Hi, everybody. I'm Dana. I'm an alcoholic. So good to be here. I always am, no matter what. I'm nervous before speaking at a meeting still after many years. I just get like that workup, like, But anyway, it's always okay. It's always turns out it's okay. And I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy Tony asked me, reached out to me as we go way, way back many years, and Dan, and it's just all these memories are coming back. Actually, as we were reading, I was thinking about different things like the meetings, such strong meetings we had going on. A lot of that's changed around here. I'm on the south coast of Mass. Things have shifted around differently, but a lot of, I came into big book step study pretty early on in sobriety. Like I was like a couple of years sober, maybe something like that. And so quick, just background, I'm just going to talk about quickly in AA, which is I bottomed out in sobriety pretty quickly. Like I couldn't function well at all. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I thought I should be fine. I was in AA. I wasn't drinking, and I was not well. And so fortunately for me, because the 12 steps out of the big book, the Alcoholics Anonymous, is perfectly suited for me as an alcoholic. And as this reading goes on, it talks about so many, like how open, the world, there's spiritual, all these spiritual options and understandings, and that we can make use of those. But I have to tell you that this foundation, and it continues to be, no matter what I do, that I'm always like, come back to basics, come back to, that just happened to me recently again, where sort of drifting off and not really getting, not like I used to read every morning. I'd read this 10 and 11, at night, read again, and kind of fell off from that and come back. And that's happened many times over the years. And actually with Dan here, it's always, no matter what, when reading this step 11, I remember like it was embedded in me. He would talk about this all the time. Like they say at the top of, let's see, what is it? Quoting is not my thing at all. Oh, but anyway, they talk about, it would be easy to be vague about this matter, yet we believe we can make some definite and valuable suggestions. So, like, if I'm wondering, here's some suggestions that are actually very specific that can help me, and say, you could try doing this. You could try at the end of the night, if I'm going to, step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact with God as I understand God, seeking only for knowledge of his will for me and the strength or power to carry that out. I forget which it is. So that's pretty specific again, and then here's some guidelines. It's like, so it's telling you this is step 11. I'm going to continue to seek out the God of my understanding, which I already had. Once I got in the 4-step writing, like I balked for a while on causes and effects, whatever it was. I wasn't ready to completely surrender, or whatever the case was. I became completely ready after getting bumped around again in sobriety, where I was out of my mind, And so I wrote like crazy. I wrote, especially like the turnarounds, I just wrote like crazy, did the fear and the sex part, 5, 6, and 7, and then right into 8 and 9. I was with a group of people that didn't mess around. It was like, this is what you do. You keep going and you stay in it, because if not, people get picked off all the time. And I was seeing that around me, that was happening. And plus, I was totally motivated to. I was willing to, because I was reaping the benefits of what happens when I like it talks about at the end, faith without works is dead. I think more specifically talking about step 12, but I find that to be true no matter what, where I'm at with this. If I'm not taking some kind of action, I'm just stagnant. I'm just there. I'm not growing, and I'm not, so the, like I was mentioning, they have specific suggestions here about when I go to bed at night, some things I can look over my day. And I do that in a way I don't generally read. I think about, I review the day in my head, and things pop up really clearly. That's the other thing I've noticed over the years is I actually feel that I've always been very intuitive and receptive to the spirit world, whatever that is. Like that's just always been a part of who I am. Like when I came to AA, it wasn't the whole God thing or anything like that. That was not. It wasn't attracted to that, but I was definitely attracted to the spiritual world. Like there's something, because I always felt that. Like as a little kid, I felt like I looked up at the stars and it felt, like this feeling of awe, like they talk about. I had that. And that got blocked out through calamity, self-imposed crisis, calamity, alcohol. And but when I came into AA, that started to come back. And I wanted more of it because I didn't want to be stuck in the, they talk about the restless, irritable discontent, which I didn't know why that was there. I had no clue. But through work in the previous steps, it became very clear why that was. I was trying to force my way through life, and that's not the way it works. I'm just going to continue to bang into things and trying to push my will. And so I know when it says, prayer minute, seeking only for knowledge of God's will for me and the strength to carry it out. 99% of the time, that for me is I'm pausing, like they talk about. I'm sitting and pausing and breathing and just kind of pondering, like, okay, is there something I should be doing or not doing? My sponsor's really big on that, like pondering. She'll say, Dana, just ponder it for a while. Sit quiet and ponder it for a while, and I do. And sure enough, there will be like this, just I think it was yesterday morning. Yeah, I was sitting out in the yard, nature is huge for me in that spiritual world. Like I get a lot of my just feel like myself in nature, basically. And so I was thinking, I had this question in my mind. I was reading through 10 and 11, and I was trying to decide what to do about this car insurance situation, changing over to a different car. I was initially trying to push my way to go to the place I already have car insurance, which is on the Cape, which is, it's a good hour ride for me in traffic. And I'm having a really hard time being on the road to begin with lately. And, it wasn't appealing to me at all. And, the thought came to me, like, why not just switch your insurance to somewhere local? And like, why not? But for whatever reason, I had in my head, I got to do this. I got to follow through and do this. And so that thought just came, like, you don't have to do that. Just find out, ask people around here who they go to, who's good, and do that. Make the change. And so that came out of sitting quietly in the morning and reviewing my day. Like, what am I going to do today? Am I going to ride up to I'm already going to the Cape. Am I going to continue and spend the next few hours doing that? And it was like, no, that's not how I want to spend my day, actually. And so, that's like an example of like when they talk about upon awakening and considering the day. And a lot of times it'll come up, like somebody will come up in the day that I'm going to see, with work. I work with people all day. Like I know I'm going to see certain people, and like, maybe how can I be helpful to them today? What's the way that I can be helpful to them? Is there a way? And a lot of times things will come to mind, just like, oh yeah, it's whatever, something will come up, but with the big thing, not the big thing, but I guess one of the things I'm finding with step 11 as time goes by is the more I just let go. Like I really, really do not have to run the show. I really don't. And I'm really starting to find that and feel that. Like it's okay. It's okay for me to just not have to think about something or do something. I used to think all the time, every day I'd be like, I had 30 things I had to do, phone calls, this, that. And now and I'm sure age has a lot to do with it, but I'm willing to let go of a lot of it. I'm just like, it's okay. I don't need to, if I get to it, that's great. If not, and guess what? Everything works out fine. But I had this belief system, like, you got to do this. You got to return this call. You got to do that. And I don't. And I actually end up being a much generally better person all in all. Like, I'm not in a rush so much. I'm not pushing, that kind of thing. We asked God, God for inspiration to have thought, decision. We relax and take it easy. Like I was just talking about, like, and speaking of other people from way back, Dan's wife, Jane, that was something she would always talk about, is like, I just sit back. I don't have to figure it out, just ask, let it go, that part, walk away. What are some of the other things? The pausing, pausing and just asking, agitated or doubtful, which happens every day throughout the day. I can get agitated, which is a resentment, doubtful, fear. And so I pause. What's the solution? Pause, take a breath, go to God. I've never been like a real religious person. I don't have a thing against it. It's actually helped me in a lot of different situations. But I tend more towards the spiritual, and more recently, last couple of years, getting into some energy stuff. And so for me, that's been very helpful. Doing like bioscalular meditations, or bringing energy in from any living things, and sound, using instrument sound, the vibration. And the reason I'm saying this is just really has helped me. So it grows, my spiritual being open to whatever is going to help, and I don't feel any disagreement, the need to disagree with anybody about any of that stuff at all. It's whatever works for anybody, which was for me perfect again in AA. Nobody said, you have to believe in this. This is, you got to believe in this God or whatever. So for me, it's been open, and, now it's another growth spurt around my spirituality, and, which has brought all kinds of other people into my life in music, which I love music. And so now there's, I'm trying like the drums and the crystal bowls and all that. And I'm just amazed by it. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. So, and then, another like kind of throwback, Warren, he was always say it works. It really does, Warren. Right. And it does. It's like, these are things, everything in this book to me, like in the steps, and specifically in this step, like all I have to do is take a look at it and take the suggestion. If I want to take the suggestion, which usually I do, there's no reason not to, and apply it, and it works. But it depends on my level of willingness, so what, if it's, sometimes I'm more willing than others. I hate to say it, but I'm still can be that person that's motivated by pain. I get like, okay, why am I so unhappy or miserable or whatever? Well, guess what? All you got to do is go back and apply yourself. It doesn't happen near as much as it used to, but it still happens for sure. But I'm much more likely to spend my days just stopping and praying and meditating than not, for sure. And I think that's about it. Thank you, everybody. Good to be here. Can't look forward to hearing everybody.